Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Eric and Shane from the Rick team.
What's up, y'all?
It's our Rick podcast. Tonight we were going to talk about sleep.
Oh yeah, I'm
Sleep in the
beat right
fire
now too.
service.
You
Yeah,
tired?
yeah. That's why it's almost 9 o'clock. We're here at my house. We just decided that this was a good time because we're both tired, and sleep is something in the fire service that is kind of a no duh. As far as I think, we're all sleep deprived all the time.
Yeah.
So if you're a wife, a husband, a son, a daughter, brother, sister, whatever, but you have a firefighter in your life and you maybe wonder sometimes, like, I wonder why they're so tired all the time, especially if they come home and say, you say, hey, how was your shift? It's pretty quiet. We didn't have much. It was good. It was nice. So, we got up only once last night, or we didn't get up at all. And I know in our families, like my wife, that translates to cool. You're rested.
Heck
you
no.
paid to sleep, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And that couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we want to just kind of talk about our own experiences and things like that, how it pertains to sleep and how that ties into lots of other aspects of our life.
Yeah.
And we don't have answers on this one because there is no way to fix
Lack of sleep.
the firefighter world of 24, 48-hour shifts,
Mm-hmm.
Not sleeping, the uncertainty of the shift, the uncertainty of, are we going to get rocked all night or are we not?
Mm-hmm.
So, as I know for myself, as I went through the process of identifying that I had the job-related stress that was causing the anxiety in my marriage, the intensity that I was living my life with day in, day out, the hypervigilance, the hyper arousal, the just constant, just feeling of being on edge. Sleep was a huge part of that. But as I went through different processes with programs, is like in the Center of Excellence, I remember challenging a clinician there who, I think she was newer to the world of working with first responders and firefighters.
Uh-huh.
And she was a very nice person and meant well, but she handed out a pamphlet on sleep hygiene.
Uh-huh.
All these great tips on how to sleep better.
Yeah. Thanks.
Make your routine, have your comfortable space, go to bed at the same time, right? Take your hot shower. I mean, all this shit that's just like, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
If you're at home and you have control over this.
Exactly.
But 1/3 of our life, we don't have a lot of those measures we can put in place.
Yeah.
So I think that sleep is one of those things that everybody's different. I mean, we know those people who can go on 2 hours of sleep and they just function well.
Yeah, they're rocking.
Yeah. We know the ones that sleep all day, all night, as much as they can. There's usually reasons for all of that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So, I mean, when you got in the fire service, when did things change for you? Like, as far as your sleep patterns, was it immediate? Like, probably most of us.
Yeah, it was immediate. I was always a deep sleeper, then I became a light sleeper really, really quick just because of the calls. Your brain never shuts off, and so then you bring that home. Like you said, it's like, even though you're at the station and, how was your shift? It's like, oh, it was great. We got up one time where we got a full night's sleep. Your brain isn't shutting off. You're any little thing, you're ready to rock and roll at the drop of a hat. But definitely, you say fire service, but I started, like I think a lot of us, I started in the ambulance service, 24-hour shifts before I was actually a full-time fireman. And so that's when it started, because you're on call. Even though I'm not in the firehouse, you're still running 911 calls with a fire department. And so it was right at 18. I was an EMT, and that's when just you start that process of getting up at night, not getting a full night's sleep, coming home. And honestly, dude, when we were younger, it didn't really bother me that much. It took years before it really started honestly bothering me. I would be tired, but I wouldn't be irritable. I wouldn't be short. I just, yeah, okay, cool. Come home, take a little hour nap, whatever, and I'm ready to go. It wasn't, till years later where I was like, dang, I'm tired, really, really tired. But it started off right away after the first year, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are things too though, man. Like, we don't, like you said in the beginning here, like, oh, we don't have an answer to it. When you said that, I was like, well, there's some tools we have. Like I did it today. It's called NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. So even though you're not going to get, if you feel yourself getting tired, there are tools that are scientifically proven that if, you can have a nap up to 90 minutes, nothing longer is what Dr. Huberman says. But the NSDR, I actually started NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. I started this about 2 months ago, and 10 to 15 minutes. And it's like, you can go to YouTube and it's equivalent to like a 60 or 90-minute nap. It recharges you really fast. And it's the way they do it. So that's something you can try. I'm not saying it's going to work because we are just sleep deprived and you need to get proper sleep. But if you're trying to get a quick nap in, or if you're trying to get something, to get some rest, that's something that somebody might be able to try. Go to YouTube, NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. And it's a guided thing from Dr. Huberman. His is really good. And,
that's fine. Unless you're getting your ass kicked at work.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what I meant was like,
of
at
course.
work, there's no way to solve it for the 24, 48 hour shift you're on.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a busy house.
Yeah.
I mean,
you could try.
You could try it.
Yeah.
But you're going to get interrupted.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't. I mean, it works out, but no, and that's great. I mean, like you said, we have tips. I mean, there's little things. I'm also like you where it has changed drastically for me as I gotten older.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot where, for me, I was not a firefighter before I got hired full time. So I came straight into the career. I had gotten jobs, but I mean, it was also like bang, bang, bang that I got hired very quickly out of the academy in college. So I was like right into a full-time career.
Yeah. And how old were you?
I was 21.
Yeah, that's how old I was, when I got a full-time here.
And yeah, but I wonder too, like the first thing I was thinking when you were saying that was like, I wonder if there's this, because of the excitement of the job, you're stoked because you got to go to a structure fire last night. Because I know I would get off in the morning just like, yeah, we got to burn one. I cut a hole. I got to fight a fire. I got to force a door or whatever you got to do. You got to go smash, play, do the job.
Yeah.
Way too good. It's what I signed up for, right?
Yeah.
So, but me and the guys that I used to run with, I mean, that was kind of the routine. We get off in the morning, everybody go home and rack out. You sleep till noon, 1 o'clock. So 4 or 5 hours of rest, solid at home in bed, just probably dead, tired, right? And then get up and then cool. Batteries are charged, like a Tesla, you're back on the road, right? So we were, that was good. But one of the big things I've noticed for me now, I have a hard time going back to sleep after calls. Dude, when I was a kid and as an engineer, like it was even, I don't know, dude, it's weird. You would think like, cause engineers have to like pop up and they've got to be, they're driving a 40,000 pound missile or an 80,000 pound missile, depending on what they're driving.
Yeah.
So, they can't, let me take a minute to wake up. Firemen, it's a pretty good gig to sit in the back, put the headset on and rack back out, right?
Well,
you're still waking up.
Unless you're tilling.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Unless you're tilling.
But you're driving.
Yeah, you're driving.
So my point is, even captains, I'll sit there sometimes if with a good engineer knows where he's going, I'll close my eyes. I mean, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
But when I was an engineer, I know for sure I did. I was great, man. I loved it. So waking up though, you're just instant like boom, all your senses are up, you're ready to rock. And then I would come back the rig back in the barn, plug it in, and go back to bed. Yeah, and I was fine. I was 25 years old. I could take a nap, or I could go right back to sleep.
Yep.
And if we didn't get another run. Yeah, for the most part, I slept all night.
Yeah.
Dude, now, I don't know how it is now. It's been a bit since I got the shot and everything like that. So I'm interested to see when I get back on duty in the stations, because I'm on 40s right now. So I'm not even assigned to a shift.
So have you worked yet? Overtime yet? Or
no,
anything?
Not since I got the shot.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that works out.
I take that back. I did work like a string of days in a row, but I didn't have enough data to tell you, because that particular shift, I spent probably like 3 days on the ladder truck, so our nights were all right. They weren't too bad. We had a couple fires, but I've noticed that when I tie it back to, I mean, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but like when I look back now as to what was going on, I think a lot of it had to do with that. Um, when the call was done, coming back and just being like, okay, did we do everything right? Is everybody okay? Oh shit, what are we gonna do tomorrow? You know, it's 3:00 in the morning. Like, I gotta get up in 4 hours. And rookies do, you know. And so then it was just like, and then I'd roll over and it's 4:30 now. And it's like I've been laying there for an hour and a half instead of just, you know, and knowing that I need to go back to sleep. So it was weird. I don't know. And then sleeping in the morning sometimes because I hadn't slept all night. And then finally 6 a.m. maybe I hear the first person, you know, I smell the coffee being made and I'm like, cool, somebody's up sort of watching out for everybody so I can sleep now in a weird way. I don't know. I don't know 100%. I haven't pinpointed all of it. I just know that it is very different than when I was a young firefighter.
Oh, for sure, dude. I mean, that's how it was for me too. I mean, that's kind of, you know, I can't say the last, you know, year and a few months, but I know prior to that, yeah, getting back to sleep, dude, it was not hard in the beginning for me. Maybe some people have struggled with it, you know, ever since they started. But for me, yeah, run a call, come right back, and I'd be out within probably less than 20 minutes. You know, I'm good to go. And I've been a paramedic the majority of my career, so it's like I can't really check out of calls. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, no one really can, you know, but if you're the primary medic and you got a serious call, even after serious calls, I'd still be out. If you had, you know, had some, you know, gnarly decisions to make, intubations or, you know, whatever. But I would say for me in particular, from what I went through the past few years, it got even harder to go back to sleep with the racing thoughts and hope it's not, this call doesn't pop up. I hope it's not a suicide. I hope it's not a, you know, GSW, or I hope it's, can we just run something pretty simple so I, you know, I can shut my brain down. Yep. And what happens? Yeah. Nothing simple happens. It's that call. It's the hard calls. It's the ones where you got to think critically, super fast, save a life every call. Anyways, but no, that's. But it took a while to get there though, dude. Like it never really bothered me in the beginning at all. But now I don't have an opinion on it the last year and a half because I sorry guys, I sleep every night.
Yeah. No, it's,
you know. And but even then it took. And I heard this from guys too. I don't know how it was for you because you were actually off of work, you know, like you said, when you came back to work. But it took me like a good 6 this past year because everything got cleared up. A good 6 months to finally get on into a normal rhythm of sleep. My sleep still was not good, but now it's pretty normal now. But it took a while.
Yeah. You talk to retired guys; they'll tell you the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
it takes them a little while to get into that, but. And that's exactly why I think it happens. I mean, based on what we know about the brain, the research we've done, and the experience we both have. I mean, the reason you're not sleeping, the reason that you're still tired. So the example we gave of, you know, your loved one comes home and you, hey, how was your shift? And they say to you, it was pretty quiet, and they're still tired, they're still irritable. And you're going, dude, what's the deal? Why is this person who just told me they got paid to sleep?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why are they tired?
Yeah.
Like I slept last night. I feel great.
Yeah.
And that is something that we call it lots of different stuff in the fire service, but it's station sleep.
Yeah.
You know, your mind's eye, your brain knows that call comes in. If you're the medic, as you described, that you've got to instantly, what is the call, protocols, drug administration, all the stuff that is in line with, you know, paramedics and their job. You're a driver, same thing. Mm-hmm. Where's the call at? What's the address? Mm-hmm. What's the route I'm going to take? You know, all that is, and you know that you need to do that quickly.
Yeah.
Departments have policies on how fast you have to get from your bed to the rig and get en route to the call.
Yep.
Typically it's 60 seconds for an EMS call. It's 80 seconds for a fire. That's the national standards that are used. In my department, we used to have it where it was 60 seconds during the day, 90 seconds at night.
Do you guys have the timers right now?
There are not timers,
Okay.
but I know there are some stations that have stuff like that.
We
But
have,
we
yeah.
do have a dashboard, and we have some incident data that actually the deputy chiefs are able to track on the AVL, so
Yeah,
our
yeah.
video or our vehicle locators
Yeah.
that tell you when our rigs actually get en route. And we do follow that data for a reason. For anybody that's listening to this and you think it's stupid, it's like, hey, that's how our chiefs can get us money, can get us more rigs. That's how they go to city council and justify more stations, more rigs, because they show, hey, this rig is responding to this area, and they're meeting the standards for their en route times, and their travel times are longer because they're running further away. So we needed a station to infill here. So all that data helps. But yeah, so knowing that when you lay down in bed, even at a slow station, you don't go to bed with the full expectation that there's no chance I'm going to get a call tonight. So your brain does not let you go into that deep REM sleep. You don't get into that. I mean, it happens sometimes at the stations, but for the most part, it doesn't happen. You said it. You were a hard sleeper. You became a light sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty common.
Yeah.
I was definitely a hard sleeper as a teenager.
Yeah.
And then when I went to that job, or to this job, it changed where I think I missed a call one time when I was a young kid, and it's happened to me in my career twice that I can remember, where someone had to wake me up and it happened to me. I think it was last year. We had a fire on the freeway or something. And the funny part is I heard the tone, I listened to it, and I rolled over.
You're like, yeah, not tonight, man.
The truck rollover, they call it. And I was on the engine, and I did a truck rollover on myself. So poor rookie had to come in the room, Cap, and I'm sure he was real excited to have to come into the captain's dorm and wake me up, right? So it happens. We make those mistakes, our bodies and stuff like that. But that also, I think if I trace it back, I was also, going through a lot of stuff mentally at that point where I was just starting to check out a bit. I was on that track where my brain knew I was beat up and stuff like that. So, pay attention to yourself out there if those are things you're starting to notice, because you kind of talked about it in your own personal experience about sleeping all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what happened there?
Do you notice a difference in fires versus a medical aid? Getting back to sleep, if you go work at, you guys win quite a bit of fires, but are you differentiating, man, if you go to a fire and, you guys got a good worker, you put some work in and you come back compared to like a medical aid, are you noticing any difference on that getting back to sleep?
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's both the same.
It's bullshit call. Majority of what we run, obviously, is like everybody else, is EMS and bullshit. I mean, let's just be honest. But it's we fight a ton of fire in our department here, and we are busy, and we fight a lot of calls. I mean, we fight a lot of calls. See, I'm tired. We need sleep. We run a lot of calls, and so it doesn't matter, because just like we've talked about with the brain not differentiating the quote unquote traumas that we've been through.
Yeah.
So comparing my trauma to yours to XYZ, the brain doesn't recognize that.
Yeah.
So the brain, when the lights come on, because most of us work in departments that have old stations where it's not the cushy bedroom where you have your own little soft light and a box that talks to you quietly. You're working station 3 with me. Every light comes on, big, loud bullhorn. Doesn't matter if it's the engine, the squad, or the truck.
Yeah.
Everyone in the station's waking up.
Yep.
And your brain doesn't differentiate between a bullshit homeless call, a dumpster fire, or a ripping hotel.
Mm-hmm.
It just knows that you needed to wake up, and it floods your body with all those chemicals and hormones and gets you ready to fight.
Yeah.
And so, yes, over time, if you're on a ladder truck, you can roll over, and they love to tell us in the morning how, I didn't even hear you guys go out, right?
Hell yeah.
We hear that all the time. So, and some of that is true.
No, we don't say that stuff, dude.
Yeah, never to each other. But no, to answer your question, it's like, no, that was the weird part, was like even nonsense calls. I would come back and it was just like, damn, I couldn't sleep. And it wasn't, at the time laying there, I didn't feel anxious. I didn't feel like I was like, oh my God, I can't sleep. I'd just be like, dude, this is weird. Like, I'd try to read.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times reading would put me to sleep. Couldn't read.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, I mean,
there's guys I would work with, man, and I was like, man, you are out. There's one engineer in particular, and I'm sure, I think he does listen to this podcast, and dude, almost every call, like the majority of the night, I'm like, do I have to go back and get him? So like I would purposely stay in bed, like, okay, I'm not gonna get up till so and so gets up.
Right.
Because he's driving anyway, so if he ain't getting up, sorry guys, maybe AMR will get there first. No. But he wasn't playing. And so I'm like, okay, now he'll get up. I, go take a pee if you have to take a pee or whatever, and go out to the rig. And is he up? Dang, go back in there. I'm like, dude, get up. Huh? We have a call. Out cold. It's like, dude, some people have no problem going to sleep, and they are out, dude.
Yeah.
And there are some people I know that do melatonin at work too, just to get to sleep. Have you ever done that?
No.
Yeah, I've done it a couple times, but I got kind of groggy.
Yeah.
Some other ones don't. They're just like, no. And then they come back and they chill. Yeah. It doesn't mess them up at all.
Dude, I used to drink coffee until I went to bed.
Yeah.
And I'd hit the pillow and fall asleep.
Really?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I can still sometimes do that if I'm tired. Like, so if I have been working multiple shifts in a row and I'm 3 or 4 or 5 days in, and because I got to pay attention to that, because if there's a pot, I'm pouring a cup. I'm walking around with a cup of coffee a lot of times, and it's just like, do I even need this right now?
I know.
But it's something I pay attention to. But yeah, I used to be able. I mean, I could drink that all day long, rock stars, all that bullshit, and sleep like a baby, man. It was different when I was younger, So,
yeah.
But and as the shift goes on, obviously too, you get more tired. That story you're talking about right now, we just had a probationary kid. He's off probation now, but this knucklehead was with us at our house, and our house is busy. And this guy, he slept through I don't know how many calls as a probationary guy, right?
Yeah.
And so his captain got so pissed, he was making him wake up for every call, walk, and our station is huge, so he had to walk from the dorm room, which was far away from the kitchen. He'd have to walk all the way through the locker room, all the way through this like hallway into a kitchen, and then he'd have to go to this whiteboard and write the address and the unit that got the call. And he was training him.
Yeah.
It's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not my job to wake you up.
Yeah.
So if you're a person that's like that, like, I think you need to figure some shit out, because like, that's not cool. It's not cool. We joke and we laugh about it, but it is an annoying thing, and it's something that you can't do to your crew. It's not fair to everybody else to like consistently sleep through calls all the time.
Yeah.
But so maybe there's something else going on there, that you need to pay attention to.
Yeah, true.
So I think that's this topic itself, like for me, why we're talking about it is because this is a very important part of your overall mental well-being.
Heck yeah, it is.
When you're tired constantly,
mm-hmm.
You can't be a good husband. You can't be a good father. You can't be a good brother or friend or son or firefighter, captain, engineer, paramedic, because you're beat up. Your battery is low.
Mm-hmm.
You're not optimum. You're not operating at your best.
Yeah.
And
that's just sleep alone, not including just the calls. That's just sleep, and then what your brain's trying to process of these different calls you go through, depending on what it is.
Well, they've shown too that like what happens with us is that when we go off duty, we're still doing the station sleep at home.
And that was my next question. It's and off duty,
you can't. You actually cannot shut your brain off once you get stuck in that fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the whole point of things like the SGB shot, the other types of methods that are out there, like EMDR and the CBT, all the things you've been through. It's like, the idea is the whole rewiring of the brain. It's the whole kind of restructuring of your, how you access memories, your beliefs, things like that. So, they can try, but when it's like, cool, now you go back and it's like, well, my mind knows for these 48 hours, I can't NSDR in a deep meditative state. With a guarantee I'm going to complete it. I can try it.
You could try, but you're going into it.
We encourage it.
Yes.
But in your subconscious that you cannot control.
Yes.
Your brain's like, okay, stupid, try it out. But like, it's ready to rock.
Yes.
It knows the tone hits and it's boom. We got to get to the rig, get dressed, and get out the door and do our jobs.
Yep. Because when you go into NSDR, when you're on duty, I hope I don't get a call. I hope I can get to this. I hope I get a little 15, 10, 15-minute little nap in or whatever. So you're already going into it doubting this may not work.
Yeah.
Versus when you're at home, it's like, okay, no, I can get this.
Right.
This is my time for 10 to 15 minutes. So now you're already basically presetting your brain to this is going to work. Yeah. So no, I totally get it. It's just a tool to try.
I think it's great. I think you try that stuff. I mean, so it's funny. I mentioned earlier, right? I pulled this paper out. It's one of the things they gave us at the Center of Excellence, and this is one I had to laugh at. So here's some. I think you'll relate to this for firefighters, right? These are all like attainable. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Sleep when you're sleepy. Get regular, as in like go to bed at the same time every night.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Avoid caffeine.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Not going to happen. Avoid alcohol. Well, majority of firefighters don't drink on duty, so that's not a big deal. But a lot of us drink off duty, and alcohol can last in your body for days. Things like that. So there is an effect. And that's another thing. I'm back to my own issue of drinking at times when it's like I couldn't sleep at home. I mean, that's how I could get to sleep because the alcohol would literally like knock my ass out to where 6, 8, 10 hours would go by. I was like, oh, cool. I didn't wake up every 2 hours with my back hurt and stuff like that. And it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But my brain had learned, well, that's one mechanism to go ahead and make sure you don't wake up. Your bed is for sleeping. Don't take naps. That's the one that I cracked up at, as I'm like, naps are sacred in the firehouse. And I'm a big proponent of everybody on the crew needs rest. That includes the new people too.
Yeah.
So I need you at 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I am not into the busy for the sake of busy. Now, if rookies want to study, they want to do stuff, like I understand that, but I also want them to go sit down, because even if sitting there and reading a book, even if they nod off for 15, 20, 30 minutes, it's like, good.
Mm-hmm.
I need you at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't. Good. That's one shift we got through that you didn't have to, use one of your 9 lives, right? Mm-hmm. Like you didn't have to expose your body to that stress of waking up and going to a structure fire at 2 or 3 a.m. So I think naps are important.
Oh yeah. Then what's crazy is I'm surprised they put that in there, man, because like there's numerous studies that I found out recently. And they say, a good nap in the middle of the day is actually very healthy for you. If you try to just push through, now you're not really learning as much, you're not comprehending as much, you're not as efficient, and it's like a nap is actually really good for you. So I'm surprised they said don't nap.
Yeah, and this is just some random one that they handed out. So it's and like you said, you could print out 10 different ones that have 10 different things.
Yeah.
So I was too. I mean, and of course I had because like the typical firefighter brain, as they hand it to you, I had to
see what's wrong with it,
prove how it's all wrong, right? And it doesn't apply to us.
Yeah.
And this one doesn't. I mean, there's bath time. You can have a hot bath 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. Well, I don't have a bathtub in my firehouse, and I don't know that if I did, I would use it.
Yeah. You guys don't have like a nice jacuzzi or what?
Yeah, I know, right? We wish. Sorry, bro. We don't have that SoCal money up here. Sleep rituals. Yeah. I mean, there are people that are good about, I know I work with people who go to bed at the same time or roughly the same time every night. But again, there's the unpredictability of how the rest of the shift's going to go that ends up interrupting them. Other rigs going out, everything we've already talked about.
Towards the last couple of years that I was on, when I was on duty, I actually did try that. I was like, hey guys, I'm gonna try to get to bed by I want to be in bed by 7:30 or.
Did it work?
On duty, yeah, at work. Did it work? No, because you get calls, you're busy. But I was trying to hey, if I even got an hour of sleep before this call, I was trying to get as much sleep as I could at night.
Oh yeah.
Not did it always work? Definitely not. And the guys were like, dude, it's 7:30, bro. The firehouse, we don't go to bed till what? 11, 12. Yeah. Everyone's hanging out, joking, drinking coffee, watching YouTube, or whatever. It's after hours. We're hanging out. And
when I was a kid, I didn't even go to bed before 2 because we had a rule of thumb that when the bars let out, you were going to get the car crash, the fight, the stabbing, the gunshot wound. It was like, why bother? We're getting up at 1:32, 2:33, and then maybe from 3 to 7 we'll get some sleep. It was just like,
And the reason I tried that was just because of stuff I was going through.
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
And
so
what I was
mentioned, I asked this earlier, and you've said it in previous podcasts, but now we're talking about sleep. So describe to people, because if somebody's listening to this and they're early in their career, give them the roadmap of, because they're in that early stage where hopefully they're going back to sleep early, or they get back from a call, they're able to sleep. Maybe they're going home and getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and then they can rock and roll for their 4 days off, right? But what was, you said it before about how all of a sudden you're sleeping all day.
Yeah.
Or a lot of the shift. Maybe not all day, but a lot more than you were before.
Oh, yeah.
To other members.
They were like, what's going on?
Was like, so what was that, from when did that start and how did it look? And, you just said you were going to bed early. So just kind of describe that.
Yeah. I mean, that started, when all the PTSD stuff and the nightmares and everything. And I was just trying to really, settle myself down. Depression was kicking in hard, and I'm not a person, man. You've known me for years. Like I said, you force a smile, you smile. It's like I've never been a depressed person. Like I don't force happiness. I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. But I never knew what it was like to feel depressed, dude. I'd be on duty, and I'm like, gosh, man, can I just get through this night, please, 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 please. I just want it to be safe. If I get some sleep, I get to go home tomorrow, and it's gonna be okay. I was like, bro, chill out, And so, I would try to go to sleep around 7:30 or 8, somewhere around there, knowing, typically, hopefully I can get an hour in, 45 minutes, and even if we get 4 or 5 calls after midnight, that's kind of how anyone listening to this, that's kind of how we gauge our sleep. How many calls after midnight do you get? We don't really gauge anything before then. We're going to call 11:30, and that's not a call after midnight.
That's right.
So I was like, okay, well, if I get at least a few calls before, a couple hours of sleep before midnight, then if we, run 3 or 4 calls after midnight, then at least I've got a couple hours where I'm kind of trying to make that time up,
Right.
Right. So,
makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's just a number.
Just exactly, dude. But your brain,
it's
just a number, man.
Bullshit,
Try and trick yourself, dude. And so, you're just trying to do it because, you want to be there, man. You want to do, you don't want to not, it's a job we love, man. And I know it sounds cliche, but, so towards the end there, I would typically be up, even on a busy night, 6:30, 6:30, somewhere around there. On a good night, I'm up at 5. I was up at 5, getting up, doing a little walk around the station, doing a meditation at the station, doing journaling at the station, and really set the tone for the day. But towards the end, man, guys were noticing it, and they're like, dude, Padge is still asleep. It's like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock. They're like, this is not how he rolls, dude. Typically he's working out, he's around the bike, he's doing something, he's, eating, I always liked to make breakfast for everybody. That was just my thing in the morning, because I just, breakfast is a big thing for me. So it's like, I'd make eggs, I'd make toast, I'd make pancakes, bacon, sausage, whatever. I just like doing that, So I'd be up early, get a workout in. Hey guys, you guys want me to make some breakfast burritos? And I just make breakfast for everybody. And we just kind of hang out in the morning. And so when I wasn't doing that anymore, I did that for almost every morning for years, dude. And, that started to stop. And guys are like, wait, something's up here. There's something really off. Like, he's still asleep. He's really checked out of calls. So, this goes in the PTSD thing. I know we're talking about sleep, but those are also telltale signs of if someone's sleeping a lot, they're isolating themselves. Yeah, maybe they might be tired, but kind of like, we've talked on podcasts before, maybe there's an underlying cause of why, or of what is really going on underneath.
Yep. And that takes the good crew members that, pay attention to that. It could be as simple as, hey, they have a newborn baby at home.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't sleep good at home. So sometimes at the station, it's like, I'm going to take every chance I can to sleep. So it doesn't always have to be the PTSD route, but it's just something for people to understand.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
And that's exactly why we want to talk about these things. Because it's not just the calls.
Exactly. And dude, even some, how many times have you heard, I don't have any kids, but some of the wives and husbands that are firemen, they get to work and like, man, I get to sleep sometimes more at work because the kids aren't getting
all the
up or
time.
whatever,
Yeah, all
so
the
they get
and
more sleep.
I'm a big proponent. I'm like, do it, brother. Go, man. Like, get some
Yeah.
rest. Like, I get it. I'm big. I need you when the bell hits, and I don't know what time that's going to be.
Yeah.
So if you can sleep when you can sleep, as long as we're taking care of business and everything's dialed in, and you show up when we need you, it's like, hey, dude, you're an adult.
Yeah.
So that's the important stuff. But I think that's a really good example, because anybody that knows you knows that you're not a dude that sleeps in and just stays in bed.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So
No,
yeah, it's funny. I think the funniest thing that's ever happened to me on duty when I was just exhausted, it's probably not a good thing. I was an engineer and I was driving truck 3, and truck 3 is our busiest ladder when fires and whatnot. It's downtown, and this had to be probably 15 years ago or better. It's like the mid 2000s, and so yeah, almost 20 years. And so we go to a structure fire, and dude, I'm wiped, right? Like I'd been on for 5 or 6 days and stuff. So
yeah,
I'm driving this 80,000 pound truck, down one of the freeways here in town, and we're heading back southbound, and our station's like 3 miles away, right? And I lived way out on the east side in a little suburb of the city I work in. And so I'm driving on the 99 southbound, and you stay on that and you get off on Fresno Street to go to my station. And I see the 180 freeway and I get off on it. And I remember this. This is how crazy it is. I remember I see the 180 eastbound and I start driving. And I see the 168 east and I get that freeway, and now I'm entering into the city that's next door to us. Okay.
Yeah.
In this truck.
Yeah.
Everybody's asleep.
Oh, and
both firefighters in the back are racked out. The captain's knocked out because we're all dead, man. We've all it was one of those shifts where like no sleep. We'd all been rocked.
Yeah.
And I'm driving, and I see this event center that we have here over by our university. It's called the Save Mart Center. And I look out the window and it hits me. I'm driving home. I'm literally en route to my house.
Yeah, you go.
My brain's on. It's like, you're done, dude.
You're done.
It's time to go home. Like, like just take the ladder truck home.
Yeah.
And I didn't say a word. I just like got over, exited the freeway, stoplight, went under the underpass, back onto the freeway, retraced my route. About halfway home, the captain kind of looks over, looks around. You good? I'm like, yep. So get to the station, 2 firefighters jump out, back me into the station. The captain's like, what happened? I was like, dude, I was going home.
Yeah, dude.
He just starts dying laughing. He's like,
yeah,
we need some sleep. I'm like, oh yeah, we need some sleep, man.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, there's some funny stuff that happens with our sleep deprivation too, but
dude, there were times, man, because like you were talking about earlier, yeah, definitely. When we worked together, you'd have to drive, as a medic on the rescue. So in LB, we call it, it's the ambulance, but we call it the rescue because we got, some different tools on there we can use, fire related or whatever. And I wouldn't, when I was with you, I knew everything was under control, because obviously, it's you and you had experience prior to that. It wasn't, no offense to the young ones. It wasn't some, 20-year-old kid that is brand new. Yeah. We needed to pay attention, know? And so, but, on the engine, cause I was at an engine house, truck house, we're at one's together. It's a super busy house. And there were times I was like, man, when you're on the engine, it's like, yeah, you get to kind of rack out on the way to the call, you're like, hell yeah. And then it's like, hey dude, I'm tilling today. Thankfully I got to till. I was on the truck actually quite a bit in my career. I got to till for, that was a dream for me, dude. I was like, man, be a tiller in a freaking metropolitan city. Hell yeah. Like, so I got very fortunate with that. But, what I learned quick with that is, yeah, you have a very important role. And so you go into fires, and like Long Beach gets super busy, and like downtown, I mean, you got to pay attention when you're tilling, it's like, and, And so you're not, there's the way we did it. We didn't, I don't know how the departments do it, but, blinkers, if you're going left or, going left blinker, going to right blinker, whatever. So, fires, there's no communication. You're just, okay. You're looking, way ahead, and, good tillerman is, it's fun, man. But definitely you got to be wide awake. And there'd be times I'd be half asleep, and, with LB, I'm sure how it is Fresno, try to get to fires really fast. And, I'm not saying it's safe, but dude, turnout pants on, that's it. I'm rolling up, throwing the turnout cut on. I'm zipping that thing up as you're driving, put my hood on as I'm driving. I'm putting the radio on as I'm driving, making sure I'm on the right channel as I'm driving, and then you're driving, you're like, and you're half asleep. As you do, and we're doing stuff, right?
Absolutely.
And this is stuff people don't know.
No.
And we're doing a lot of things out of just habit.
That's autopilot.
It's autopilot, man.
Yep.
And so when your brain is wired that way, of course it's going to be hard to get back to sleep. Of course you're going to come home tired. Oh, you got a full night's sleep because you were on the truck last night. It's like, yeah, but no, my brain didn't get a full night's sleep. Right. And why are you irritable today? You're so irritable or whatever. It's like, so, for anyone that has their husband or a wife come off duty, I know that's a very big thing of understanding, like, when they get off, it's communication. That's a big thing, to let them have their time, to where you respect that of, hey, you got to wreck out for a little bit, go, you can't always do that if you got a super busy family, but, if there's something you can do to try to help that might be something, to help, someone that might be struggling mentally, or, in a marriage or whatever. It's like, maybe you got to come home and give them, a couple hours of sleep or whatever it is, so they can reset their brain and be more present throughout the day.
Yeah. No, I think that's really important, is that it doesn't matter if somebody has 2 years on the job or 20.
Yeah.
It does, but it does. It's all different at levels, but the same things are going on physiologically.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to, it doesn't give us the right to be an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
And come home every day and pull that card. Hey, I got beat up all night. It's like, well, then draw out of that station.
Yeah.
Go to a slow house. Like, don't use that excuse to be a dick all the time.
Yeah.
Because you have an ego thing that you need to be in a busy house. Because that's really what it comes down to. And I want to be in a busy house. So I'm one of those guys. I can say that because I got no problem saying it. Like, I don't want to be slow.
Yeah.
But you at the same time, in our families, like, they definitely have to understand that, there's a cost associated with those things. And I think that, it's the classic, and anybody that's been in a fire family for a while knows this. It's like, if you have plans, we're going to get killed the night before.
Oh, for sure. You have trips.
You're going to take it. Doesn't matter. You're going to, you want to go, we're going to Vegas. We're going to Hawaii. We're going to Yosemite.
What about Bon Air, dude?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Like,
we had a trip planned. Yeah. You guys were busting me up, dude.
Oh yeah.
We had a trip planned, and for people too, it's like,
yeah, you had a plane ticket bought.
Yeah, had a plane ticket bought, and went on to a strike team, had everything planned the next day, supposed to meet you and some, other dudes. And I had coverage for the strike team, and it was just a time where strike teams were going off, and 2:00 in the morning, ding dong, ding dong. All right, you guys are rolling out. It's like, you freaking kidding me, dude? It's like, call you the next morning, hey, dude, I'm on a strike team, man. And you're like, what, you mother effer? Like, dude, you shouldn't have went. I'm like, I had to go, So anyways, it's just funny.
No, it is. That's just, it's how it works, right?
Yeah.
It's like the nights when when you're like, yeah, next day I got nothing.
Yep.
I'm ready to rock and roll. You'll sleep all night.
Yeah.
And then, you got to pick your kid up. You got to do something, coach a game, be present.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get killed. So, that's just how it's going to be. So how do you fix that? Well,
don't plan anything, dude. Just act like nothing ever is going to happen. You sleep every night, dude.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But you said it already, and that's just work with your family. Communicate.
Yeah.
Come up with a way that, I had a buddy of mine. I've always admired this guy for this, but he was married to a cop, and she was working graveyards. And so if you don't know what graveyards are, you're going in 10:00 at night, getting off at 6, going in at 11, getting off at 7, some combination, but basically you work at night. And so a lot of nurses work graves and things like that. And that's a horrible schedule. It's rough. Some people love it. I've been on graves before, and it worked for me at the time. because I had 2 jobs at the same time. So I actually went from Gravesend to my day shift, and then I basically slept all afternoon into the evening, going back to Graves. So it worked out for me, but to be on it a long time, it's rough, man.
Yeah.
And this is when I was living on the boat, so I had some isolation. I was able to get out, have quiet. But anyways, my buddy, what he did was, him and his wife had 2 kids. He literally built her a dorm in the backyard. So he built this like tough shed thing, and he double insulated the walls, and he bought like a cloud mattress and put an AC unit in it, and it blacked it out. So when she got off, like that was her little cave. She could go to that, shut the door. You couldn't hear anything, and she could rack out for however long she needed to.
Yeah.
So, obviously not all of us can go out and build an entire like room for somebody to sleep in.
Yeah.
But he recognized the value of that for her and did that for her. He was a firefighter, or he still is a captain down in SoCal. But the point is, it's like there are ways to create the environment you need and figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
I find I used to come home and just rack out right away.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, I don't do that as much. Like I come home and I usually putz around the house and I'll do some projects and I'll try to push through and maybe take an afternoon nap, but limit it to that 60 to 90 minutes so that I'm not, so I can go to bed that night and spend time with my wife. But yeah, there's still mornings occasionally I come home and it's just like, yeah, you're just dead, man. Normally a hot shower, which is recommended. When you increase your body core temperature, right, there's some physiological stuff that happens that actually assists you with going to sleep.
Yeah.
So they recommend that. It's the thermogenic reaction of cold water showers. Mm-hmm. It's great for like the morning.
Yeah.
If you end the day on a cold shower, that's not bad, mm-hmm. but you may need to train for a while before you can actually go to sleep after being immersed in cold water.
Yeah.
Whereas if most people probably have a memory of a hot tub or a bathtub or a hot shower where you get out and you feel that kind of cozy, warm. You just want to get into bed and rack out. That's why that happens. It's physiological. So they do recommend a hot shower about 1 to 2 hours before. I've read a lot of stuff about how like they say don't have a TV in your room. Mm-hmm. Make your bed for sleeping, right? Yeah. Make your bed for sleeping, not for studying and eating food and watching TV. And I don't really follow that. Yeah. I don't.
Because what you're trying to train your brain, this is sleep time, not study time, not eating time. It's like when you sit on the couch, you watch TV, your brain already knows, I'm gonna watch TV. Yep. That's all you're trying to do is program your brain.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's, I don't know, maybe at some point I will, because it might even improve it now. I'm doing great now after the SGB shot. I haven't slept this good. I've said it before. In 20 years.
That's so awesome, dude.
But I sleep pretty damn well now. But a big part of it too is I'm not taking it in the engine house every, in 6 days, every 2 days of that 6-day cycle, I'm not getting rocked.
Yeah.
So it's easier said than done. We get it, man. We've been in your shoes. If you're out there and you're getting smashed, it's like, all I'm saying is pay attention. So pay attention if you're being irritable with family, if you feel like you can never catch up, it's like, dude, you probably have holiday. You got time, do some shift trades, barter in the station, maybe see if the truck firefighter will let you ride the truck for a little bit. Swap a role for a bit. There's a lot of different ways you could do it to kind of shake it up and see if you can get yourself out of a funk. Yeah. But sleep is vital. It's very, very important. Mm-hmm. I still see, man, I'm surprised how many kids we work with, and even older guys too that have been on a long time, the amount of bangs, the rock stars, the Red Bulls, the energy drinks in general that are still just getting crushed daily. And I'm like, man, when I was young, we were all about it. But nowadays, like can't even remember the last time I drank like a Monster. It's probably been more than a year.
That doesn't even include the coffee, the numerous cups of coffee throughout the day.
Well, that's it.
You're adding it all together.
Not like I'm saying that I'm innocent, but I'm just saying like I look at the energy drinks as just an additional layer of unhealthy stuff. Yeah. Food too, man. That's another thing. If you're a cook in a firehouse, it's like, the days of the old school gigantic meals and everything like that, it's gotten much better. There's a lot of people that are more health conscious in the stations.
Yeah, actually it has, dude.
But we still double fry tater tots, and we still make the bacon double cheeseburgers, and we make the giant brunch on Sunday and load it up with syrup and OJ and bacon. Yeah, dude. And dude, I'm all about the tradition. I love that stuff. But keep in mind that, all that stuff is all interconnected to how you feel, how you sleep, all
Yep.
those things. It's all together. And the one thing I can tell with authority on is booze about, hey, booze is not, you are not sleeping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do some research. Your
Yeah.
body is actually not resting very
Mhm.
well. If you have an Apple Watch, you know, wear it because it tracks your sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, all those
Okay.
little Fitbit things,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
smart watches, you know, get something like that. And for you jerks that snore, go to a doctor and get a test. Get the sleep apnea.
Go get a CPAP, man, huh?
Get the CPAP, but you do the test first. So they actually have you track your sleep. They put these things on you where they can actually see how many times you woke up and all this stuff. And it's like, not only for your neighbors in the dorm to actually be able to sleep, because I can't stand sleeping in a room with some of the bears that snore, but dude, it's better for you. Like the health benefits to it. Go talk to somebody who uses one of these things and ask them, and they will tell you, like, oh man, I feel so much better. I feel so much more rested. So they have these machines now that are a lot more quiet, and you can use them in a firehouse and still hear the calls, and so they'll take it off quickly and get down to the rig. So the technology has come a long way. Like, why would you not do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, take it serious. Like, look at that. Like, if you're feeling like shit all the time, there's a good chance sleep is probably part of it.
And with the diet, which is funny, I tried that, dude. And I was at a truck house at this time, you know, and we know the truck houses are typically a lot different than the engine houses, you know. But it's when I was trying to like fix my diet a lot and everything. So I was doing super healthy meals. I don't know if you ever worked with me when I was at the truck house. I think it was just, I mean, one's was a truck house too.
On the Ambo, yeah.
But did you ever work at Sevens?
No.
Oh, that's why.
I just did ones with you guys because I wasn't there very long.
Okay, that's right. But yeah, so I was doing like super healthy dinners, like steaks and salads and really low carb and you know, low carb sandwiches and tons of fruit for, you know, lunch and then, you know, whatever. And it went for a couple shifts, and the dudes are like, dude, we need some freaking carbs, bro. Like, we're not on the same diet as you. Like, make some real food here, you know? So, and it's hard, you know, because not everyone, it's like you said, that just like with the brain health, mental health, the diet, we have a tradition, you know, and it's like, you know, and it's hard because we do need carbs, you know, because if you, you know, you're going to get tired super fast at night, during the day, you know, if it's summertime, you get a veg fire. If you're eating super, super lean and you're trying to be super healthy on duty, you're not going to have anything to burn, you know? So it's that fine balance of like, okay, you know, if you're trying to be healthier, you know, throw some healthy, you know, maybe you want to do some sweet potato, baked potato. Maybe you don't have to go for all the fatty bread and, you know, starchy stuff or whatever. It's like, there are ways to help your sleep, and talk to your crew about it, you know, and as long as everyone's needs are getting met, then you'll be fine. But there are healthy ways, like you said, to help your sleep, and there are different avenues you can try if that's something you're struggling with. But diet, dude, from the program I went through, oh my gosh, diet's so big on your nervous system, you know, and at the firehouse, it's easy to, you know, pound those Red Bulls, those monsters, and, you know, you're layering in the sodas, you're layering in, you know, just so much stuff, and your body's like, oh man, all right. So, and that can just have a big problem on, you know, you getting to sleep and whatnot. So, but what about off duty, dude? So like, do you have any ideas? You know, we talk about on duty stuff, but even if you're off duty, try to get that diet as much as you can, you know, in order. Maybe you can't at the station, but maybe at home, you know, at least help it in some way, right? If you're having I know for me, if you're having a hard time, get to sleep even off duty, there's a lot of different things you can do, but try throwing on some relaxing music. You know, if you gotta throw some ear pods in or something like that, or like you said, you know, maybe it's a dark room, maybe you have your little spot you go to, maybe before you go to sleep, go take a walk, you know, around the block, 5-minute walk or whatever, do a little journal session if you need to, do a little meditation session, whatever, but try to prepare your body to get some kind of rest. And it'll help so much, man. And these are things I wish I would have known prior to all this stuff. If I would have had these tools prior, it's like, oh, I would have tried, a little walk before I took a nap. Or I would have tried maybe just, sitting down and calming, my thoughts with some kind of relaxing music or whatever, just to get my mind ready for a good nap. Because when you get off duty, your brain's so wired to just, you're going. It's like, just like going to the gym, you got to get hyped up for whatever. It's like before you go to sleep, if you want to get a nap in, just try to train yourself to do it. And I know that might sound stupid, but it's hard to fall asleep sometimes because your body doesn't want to shut down. Your brain don't want to shut down. So you're trying to get a nap in, but you're really not getting anything in. And you're going to continue that cycle. So.
No, I think so. I mean, all the things about being off duty, it's like you can try all these things and they work great, and then you have a bad night of sleep. I mean, things happen, right?
For sure.
You're gonna wake up like that's part of why we're talking about this. I didn't sleep great last night. It's getting late tonight, and it just it doesn't always work out perfect. And today I did a sauna. We did sauna and float yesterday. I mean, we did stuff, meditate, all that. It's just like, life sometimes just throws you those days where you just don't do as good, right? I know there's some people that are sensitive to like full moons and random stuff like that. I mean, they swear that, every time there's a full moon, I can't sleep. My mom used to say shit like that. It used to crack me up, But, and I mean, hell, sometimes just, you can't because of, like you were saying, busy families that have, multiple kids and they're involved in a million things. So, okay, the diet, exercising, if you can establish a routine at home, it's important. But having that space that is comfortable for sleeping, and maybe even isolating it to a certain degree if you can. Like, where it's like, hey, that's mom or dad's little space to go, blackout. Where, hey, we don't bother them. And your cell phone's another big one. It's like, stop playing with your cell phone.
Yes, dude.
And, challenge yourself that once you get to the bed, dude, don't scroll. Don't go into your phone. Like, put it down.
That should be a minimum of 2 hours before bed too, dude.
Yeah.
That's what they recommend.
I know I'd seen it like an hour, but
2 hours if you can. 2 hours is the best.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of these things aren't even possible for a lot of people with their current schedules and lives.
Yeah.
So it's not, when you hear these things, I know for me, when I heard stuff in the past, I'm like, that's not even possible. I can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't every day.
No, you
can't.
That's
the truth, but you can a lot of times.
And these are just things these are like, you've said it before, these are just different tools. It's not saying you have to do this, you have to do that. Oh, it must be nice for him. It's like, these are just things for yourself to start thinking of ideas of like, I'm going to try this. Maybe I can't do 2 hours, or maybe I can't do an hour. Maybe I can do 20 minutes.
Yeah. But it's the things that you're trying, right? You pay attention to yourself and you realize, hey, I really liked that I'm not touching my phone. I liked that I was, hanging out with the kids or hanging out with my wife, just having a conversation.
Yeah.
Or you got in the hot tub, or you got in the hot shower, maybe that becomes a 15-minute ritual right before bed where you do a good 10, 15-minute hot shower, get to bed, you don't touch the phone, you lay there, you get comfortable, and you rack out. But resist the urge when you wake up in the middle of the night. I used to wake up all the time, dude, like midnight, 1 a.m., you name it, all hours of the night. I mean, I'd go to bed. I was trying to go to bed at like 9 p.m. some nights, right? And it'd be like 11 o'clock. Boom, I'd wake up like we got a call.
Mm-hmm.
And what would I do? Reach over, grab the phone, and start wasting time, and then next thing you know, it's like midnight, 1 a.m. Okay, I'm going to try to sleep, set the phone down. Well, now I'm just like turning my brain on into the dopamine and everything else that's going on. So I just blew out my entire kind of rhythm. And so it's just, those types of things are important. And, as far as like not having a TV in your room, hey, if it works for you, it works for you. Like, it just depends. It's really whatever, you got to try stuff and see what sticks for you.
Yeah. And there's also, for dudes, I think it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to try that. But once again, it's having an open mind and trying to take care of yourself the best you can, mentally, physically, emotionally. You could also do eye masks. Those are numerous studies on that.
Yeah.
So say you can't black out a room. Maybe you just got so much stuff going on. If and you got kids running, you got just so much stuff going on or whatever. Throw some earbuds in if you have to with some music, and put some some the eye masks over your eyes, or throw some noise canceling earplugs in your ears if you need to. It's just trying things to reset your body. And when you start researching, anyone that's athletes, these are all things that are proven to work to help your body recover. And I know when someone was like, "Hey man, just try putting some, putting covering your eyes." I'm like, I'm not going to put that crap over my eyes, and it works because now it's blacked out. So it's just different things to try, it's just throwing different stuff out there.
That's a great one, because that's directly tied to what's called your circadian rhythms.
Yeah.
And that is evolutionarily our bodies were developed over time, and our brains and all the anatomical structure. I mean, when you're living in caves,
yeah,
and the ambient light of the sun came up, you woke up naturally.
So yeah, exactly.
You're exactly right. Like, you can control that environment.
Yeah.
And do that. The temperature is important too.
Yep.
They've shown, the studies have come out, they recommend about 65 to 70 degrees.
Yeah. Roger brought that up. Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like, my wife, it's complete drama queen if it's less than 74 degrees, and I'm just like, dude, I'd love to run it down to 70 and run my AC even into the 60s.
Yeah.
74 is about the lowest I can go with her, because otherwise it's like drama queen central, because she's freezing to death.
Yeah.
But yes, they've scientifically shown that at 65 degrees, there's actually a metabolic benefit too.
Yep. So, exactly.
Because of the thermogenesis that happens when you're sleeping in that cool environment. They recommend the 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Yeah. Not always possible. I do know that I used to quote unquote catch up on sleep. So I'm one of those weirdos that I can go without sleep for a long time and go without food and go, me, I'm just like, I just keep going. Because then I'd be like, oh, well, I'll just sleep for like 12 hours this day and 15 hours this day, and then I'm all charged back up. And it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So it's, even if you have to try to work hard to like set an alarm and, keep yourself in that 7 to 8 hour range. I mean, listen to your body. If you need the rest, take it. But,
yeah.
Overall, that's important. And they talk about time restricted feeding also. So I know the recommended time to stop eating before bed is 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours before bed should be your last meal. What do we do in the firehouse before bed, right?
Eating, drinking coffee.
You hear the house mouse in the ice cream.
Yep.
You always hear the spoons in the bowls in the kitchen, right? Like
cookies, popcorn.
Yeah, you're sitting around, and dude, a lot of times that's just boredom, because you're sitting there watching a movie with the crew, and it's like, and of course, it's tradition. It's awesome, right? Like, all the stuff we're talking about. I mean, we love all of it. We love the good food. We love the banter, the chaos, and all that stuff. But it's just, after getting educated on this stuff, you just have to recognize everything's balanced, man. Like, you can't drink 2 pots of coffee a day and expect to sleep well.
Yeah.
Right. You can't eat like a pig all day long and expect to not have consequences. So, I think another thing to think about too is when you look at the data statistically about like fatalities in the fire service, cardiac is still up there. Cancer has definitely become a huge one, as has suicide, but cardiac and vehicle accidents. Both of those two things, there's direct links to lack of sleep.
Yeah.
So to your point on being a tillerman, having to be wide awake, or me talking about it being an engineer, it's like, there's direct correlations to those fatalities. So, sleep is massive, man. It's super important for us as a human being.
There's also, I'm sure you've heard of these, dude, but, I haven't done these yet because I try to do, the 2 hours. I don't always get 2 hours. Typically it's about an hour. I do pretty good with an hour now because I'm able to do that every night. Blue light glasses. Go to Amazon, and because the white light really messes up.
Oh,
yeah. So if you want to watch TV, if you want to be scrolling on your phone, you're still scrolling and giving, that dopamine effect to your brain, which isn't great. But at least, with the blue light glasses, say you want to watch TV and you want to watch a movie to go to sleep or something like that, you can throw, blue light glasses on. about an hour or two, before you go to bed. So at least that helps your, like you said, your circadian rhythm. That's all proven because now you're relaxing that and you're able to get to sleep faster and sleep better. And then there's also what's called a dawn light. And so the dawn light's pretty cool. So you could set it. So like, I don't know, you have your regular alarm, like the tones or whatever, but it, ding dong, it gets you up, whatever you have your alarm tone. What a dawn light does, I actually got this from, I forget the CrossFit dude's name, but I was trying to really work on my sleep. And what the dawn light does is it's a slow sunrise in your room.
Right.
And so you're able to set it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever. I set mine to 20 minutes. And so you can set your illumination low, high, whatever. And so in the morning, I have it set to 20 minutes. So it's slow, the light slowly comes on like it's a sunrise in your room. And I just have it set to birds, and so now it's not like that annoying, super loud alarm clock, just like at the station where you're up, let's go, let's rock and roll. If now it's a nice slow sunrise, you got something nice to wake you up, and that's actually helped a lot too.
It's the iPhone snooze that I hit 10 times and my wife wants to stab me.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
And I know this stuff, and I used to look at this stuff, I'm like, okay, whatever. This I'm not going to freaking do that. But if you're really, honestly, if you're taking accountability for your personal health, these are things that will help. It's proven, it works. It's what you do if you want to be. It's what athletes do and Olympians do. These are all proven things that doctors recommend if you want to be at the top of your game. And I feel like us being firemen, we should be at the top of our freaking game. We should be eating healthy. We should be working out. We should be in shape because that's what we do. We save lives. I take it very personal. I work out a lot. Whether anyone knows that has worked with me on duty, unless I absolutely couldn't, I wouldn't work out, but I would try to get something in daily, whatever it is. And so if we want to be the best optimal shape, and we know suicide, mental health, all these things is a taboo subject, these are things we could do to help ourselves. It all correlates with sleep, diet, taking care of one another, the signs, and just do what you can to help yourself.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We encourage you to go do your own research. A lot of what Eric just said, is directly tied to things like the circadian rhythms that we mentioned. The artificial light you're talking about, it suppresses melatonin in the body, and that's what happens. The body naturally produces melatonin, which helps you go to sleep.
Yeah.
So when you mentioned earlier about taking melatonin, you're then removing your body's need to produce it, which is not exactly a good thing for your body.
Yeah.
And but that artificial light, that recognizes it as, oh, well, it's still light, so you don't need melatonin yet because you don't need to sleep yet. It's not dark.
Yeah.
So by having the blue light glasses, that assists with that. So that's a good tip for people.
Yeah. And then also even at home, or on duty, this is another thing too. How many times do you get up 2, 3, 4 in the morning, even if you're at home, gotta go take a piss, right? Or, a pee, whatever. When you flip that light on, that messes up that whole rhythm.
Yeah.
So if you can go to the bathroom without turning all those bright lights on, maybe you have like a little,
like the night lights,
like a night light or something like that to go to the restroom. That will help you get back to sleep a lot faster if you have to get up to use the restroom. Now you come back to bed because now that rhythm isn't thrown off.
Yep.
So just little tips and tricks, just throwing
good,
stuff
man.
out there.
Sleep's important. Obviously that's the main theme of all of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah. Ernest Hemingway said, "I love my sleep. My life has he says, my life has a tendency to fall apart when I'm awake."
Yeah, for sure, man.
So
cool, dude. Right on.
But yeah, well, hopefully you got something out of this. We get it. If you're struggling with anything and you're talking to some therapist or you're thinking about it, be prepared. They're going to talk about something like sleep, and it's hysterical talking to firefighters that work their asses off and run a ton of calls. But, I do think it's an important thing to talk about with your family, work out a plan, come up with it, recognize that it is so important. And, all the things we talked about, maybe something resonated with you, we hope.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So you could reach me at epadgettcoaching@gmail.com.
I'm at ricfirecaptain.com.
Yeah. And like always, guys, leave a comment if there's anything you guys want us to talk about. Rate us a 1 star if you want, 5 star if you want, 0 star if you want, or don't
Just
do
turn it
anything.
off if you
Just
don't
turn
like
it
it.
off. Yeah. All right, guys. See you on the next one.